Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Drive Away with Baz and Jen. That's Jen.
And I'm Baz.
Not quite. We just saw 100 Nights of Hero, directed by Julia Jackman. I was going to say Jackson. It's Jackman. Julia Jackman.
Hugh Jackman.
Not quite. Yeah. Wait. Also starring Emma Corrin, Maika Monroe, Nicholas Galitzine, and then Galitzine.
Okay.
And then a random Charli XCX, Richard E. Grant, and Felicity Jones.
I love lesbianism.
Yes.
I love lesbianism so much.
Preaching to the choir here. Spoilers, by the way. Lesbians. I'm very glad that, because the movie was kind of marketed as being relatively bisexual.
A bisexual throuple
but
rom-com.
But I was a little worried because in the trailers they only showed the scenes between Maika's character Cherry and Nicholas's character Manfred, and I was like, am I getting queer baited a little bit? But no, I'm happy to report that we are not queer baited.
It passes the queer bait test.
I do need to admit, I low-key did not know what was going on for some of this movie. There was some weird time jumping thing.
She was a witch, and she was accelerating time so that Cherry wouldn't have to deal with a man for longer than she absolutely had to.
God, I wish I had that power.
Yeah, right? This movie was very Wes Anderson, in the way that the pacing kind of was, and the stylistic choices, and a lot of the camera angles were flipping around, and the camera they were definitely using the camera to add to some comedy in some of the scenes, which I feel is and just the look of it felt. And the way, the characters were written and were acting all felt very Wes Anderson to me, but without being, a blatant ripoff. And that's not actually something I've seen, really. I've never seen anyone really try and do his style.
I don't really think...
And I don't think they were fully going for it.
They were going for it. I think her style just happens to be influenced or... She's just kind of doing her own thing.
Yeah, it was quirky. It was a little silly, goofy. It was a little weird.
I mean, this movie's just a fairy tale, right?
Yeah, no, I like
Another understated thing I loved was, I don't know if it was something in camera or a post effect, but all the lights looks like...
That was a post effect, yeah.
Yeah.
They starfished all the lights.
It looked...
Which is just how I perceive lights.
It looked so magic. I almost leaned over to you. I was like, so this is your astigmatism, huh?
Yeah, that's basically... that's my perception of the world is... all the starfish lights, which pretty in fairy tale, not pretty in practice.
Beautiful costumes, my God.
Oh yeah, the costumes were great.
I guess we should maybe say what the plot of this movie is really quick.
Yeah.
So basically,
first it's set in a silly fantasy Regency era world, and there's this god named Birdman. And the god's kiddo,
he rules over with misogyny.
Created humans and created the world. But then Birdman got mad that the humans weren't doing anything, so he made a bunch of rules. And
he got mad that the humans were fucking too much.
Yeah, and so women can't read or write, and they have to have an heir within 6 months of getting married or whatever.
Yeah, this movie's very funny. Lines what was it? Most men in my parish have a child within 6 months, and most of being them married.
Of 6 months of being married, and most of them are born within 7.
Yeah, I loved the guards.
The guards were great.
There was one scene where, so let's get into the plot really quick. So Cherry, played by Maika Monroe, is in a frankly loveless marriage to her husband Jerome.
Yep, they have not consummated it because that guy's gay
as
fuck.
He's so gay. And then Nicholas Galitzine, Manfred, shows up, one of Jerome's friends, and is like, yo, I fucking hate women.
I will fuck your wife.
My wife left me. I will fuck your wife. And then Jerome is like, okay, well, you have 100 days to seduce her because she's not a whore. And then,
but like he kind of wants him to seduce her so that he doesn't have to fuck his own wife, because the leader of the Church of Birdman told them that they need to have a baby within 101 nights.
Yep.
Or Maika Monroe will be executed.
And so then
get pregnant, not have a baby in 101 nights.
And so then Jerome leaves, and then Hero, who is Cherry's maid, is pretty much trying to stop all of Manfred's advances. And there's a lot of tension between the two of them. But so essentially, Hero tells this story about these three witchy sisters.
One of whom is played by
Charli XCX,
who has iPhone face.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. She did a fine job acting, I would say.
She had like 4 lines.
I know, but like I wasn't, other than the iPhone face, I wasn't ever really like, that's just Charli XCX, like taking me out of it.
I just kept looking at Charli XCX.
Like she did fine.
So Brad of her.
No, that's So Julia. That's a lyric from.
I've never listened to any song off Brad except for Guess.
And
I've only heard the Billie Eilish version.
That's the better version. So I guess, so when Hero keeps telling the story, she always keeps like stopping and then like kind of fast forwarding the time, I guess. And she told Cherry early on, like, if you ever don't know what to do with him, just say like, oh, how did that story end? And I'll jump in and be a distraction.
And then she starts like making the days go by, and all of a sudden 50 days have gone by when Manfred thinks it's only been like 5 or 6 nights.
Yeah.
Or something.
And so then there's this one line, and it's all, because it's always Hero going like, oh, where did I leave off? And usually like Cherry or even Manfred will remind her. But there's one time, like I think it is like 50 nights in or whatever, when Hero's like, oh, where did I leave off? And then the guard chimes in and
these guards are masked and haven't had a line in the whole film.
And he apparently they've just been listening to the story this whole time too.
And that's one thing I really liked, because in every like Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, like even Lord of the Rings or whatever, like whenever there's characters having a secret conversation in a fantasy film, there are the fucking guards in the background. And I'm always like, yeah, obviously they're like sworn to their liege lord or whatever, but at the same time, they're fucking hearing all of this. And I like that they acknowledged that and played with that a little bit, and having the guards like, you know, get to have some comedic moments and get to chip in on the plot.
Yeah.
And ultimately save the fucking world.
Yes.
The guards.
I think that, it was a bit tough just because I didn't really understand the fast forwarding thing in regards to like how the narrative was going. I just kind of didn't know what was going on for some of it. The chemistry between Maika Monroe and Emma Corrin was fantastic.
Incredible. This first scene where like they actually start being all a little. Maika Monroe is like, because she's a virgin. She's never had sex, because her husband won't touch her. And she's
I think it's also kind of assumed like her husband doesn't even like kiss her.
Yeah, the first time he ever kissed her.
I don't think they ever
in front of Manfred,
physically interact at all.
And she's like, well, what does it feel like to be wanted? Like blah 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 blah. And fucking Hero is like, oh, like well,
let me show you.
And she like,
if I were a man who wanted you.
She kisses her the back of her hand, and she kisses her cheek, and she's like, and then I would start, and she starts kissing her neck, and then she goes, and then I would stop, and if you turned and looked at me, it would show that you want it. And Maika Monroe turns, and they start fucking macking. And
no, they don't even start macking. It's one kiss on the lips, and then Maika.
They're macking. That's in lesbian terms, they're macking. This fucking guy is going 20 miles under the speed limit.
Yeah, welcome to the Driveway Podcast.
This is the first podcast I'm driving.
Yeah.
You can. I'm about to pass someone on the right because they're going way too fucking slow.
But like I'm a big Maika Monroe fan. I dare I say I'm the biggest Maika Monroe fan I know.
This is true.
I love this woman so much. Also, Longlegs is great. That is the opinion. That is the only known opinion on the Driveway podcast.
That's not true.
Longlegs is fantastic.
That's not true. I hated that movie.
No! But
the vibes were there and the cinematography was great.
Okay, but this is not the Longlegs podcast.
Yeah, that's true. We'll get one of those someday when they re-release it.
But like the whole movie, all I could think of is just like, oh, look at me, I'm Maika Monroe, I'm so beautiful, with my big brown doe eyes and my long blonde hair, and I have these two gorgeous brunettes who are fighting to see who can seduce me.
Hot man,
girl, fuck you.
And an incredibly hot woman, both flirting with me, and I want them both, and I can have them both. But oh no, I have to pick. Just have them both. Have them, even though Manfred is a manipulative shitbag. Fuck him. Have a little sex.
This
with
is
him.
the greed they talked about in the Bible.
This is the greed they talked about in the Bible. I would just have both. I would be romantically entangled with Hero, and then I would sleep with Manfred.
I wouldn't.
Twice, and then
once or twice. Okay.
Once I found out he was a manipulative con man, I would send his ass off to the gallows. And then I would have a wonderful life with my wife, Hero.
Yeah. And then I guess just like eventually it so happens, Hero and Cherry they get found out cuz Jerome comes back when
Hero and Manfred get found.
No.
Fucking.
Cherry and Manfred.
That's what I meant.
Also, I feel like I should note, Emma Corrin, non-binary, they, them. When we're saying woman, we're referring to Hero, the character.
I didn't know that.
No, you good. Just for any listeners at home. But
I love character lesbianism.
But Cherry and Manfred are about to start fucking because Cherry is like, you know what? I don't even care. My husband sucks. I want an heir.
Well, she doesn't want an heir. It's night 100, and if she's not pregnant by night 101, then she's gonna get killed. So she needs an heir. Otherwise, she's gonna get hanged by the Birdman leader.
Right. So they get found out about to start fucking. Hero comes in and is like, no, actually, I bewitched her. It's my fault. I love her. And then they're sentenced to death, basically. And then they basically their crime for committing the sins of perversion and witchcraft are you have to jump off the roof. Or you can say that you were wrong and just, be condemned to misogyny forever. But they say that they're not wrong. They jump off the roof. Next thing you know, I guess they're on the moon with Felicity Jones in some fuck-ass silver wig. Felicity Jones is one of the 3 moons, and then they get turned into the stars. Oh yeah, there's also the League of Storytellers.
Yeah, that was a little silly.
The whole movie's silly.
Yeah, but
it's
that part
very
I was
fun.
Like,
it's very campy.
The leader of the League of Storytellers could not act.
I don't think so.
I thought she was every line, and obviously, like, a part of it was the script. It was very, like, forced, but, like, I felt like she was not on her A game delivering those lines.
Yeah, I think it's a script thing. Just because, also, I feel like a lot of this movie might have been cut down.
I feel like that as well.
Because there were, in regard to like some of the time jump scenes or when it was calling back to things, there were quick little flashes of scenes that we did not see in the movie.
There was also, however, lots and lots of reused footage. Like, they kept showing us the same shots, which leads me to believe that it wasn't cut down in the editing room, but it was, like,
cut down as shooting.
Even before shooting started.
Because this is a tight 90.
They didn't have enough footage to go back to some things. They had to reuse shots and takes.
And normally I'm down with a tight 90-minute movie, but like I feel like this
10 minutes longer.
I would even say 20. It needed a little bit more embellishment for like the world specifically.
I don't necessarily know that I agree because we had the little monologue at the beginning. I think my problem was, and obviously they want to show the impact that like they had, but I felt like after Hero and Cherry jump, the movie has like 3 more endings, and I felt like we could have just had the League of Storytellers like going back home to Hero's mom or whatever, and being like, well, here's the story, and then like end there, as opposed to like that, and then like the moon thing, and then like a little quick montage of lesbianism, and then the stars, and like, I don't know, I felt like I would take that time and add 10 more minutes right before the final confrontation scene, or even like, because when Cherry finds Hero reading, it's a very abrupt scene of like, oh my god, you're not above the rules, okay, bye, and she leaves and then goes and fucks Manfred. And
yeah, there's that, like no elaboration on that.
And she also is like, she comes in there and seems antagonistic. Like, I felt like if that's your best friend lover, there's gonna be like a,
you would assume the best first,
yeah, you would,
as opposed to immediately going to a bad reaction.
Yeah, and even if you do go to a bad reaction, like she would be willing to hear it, like, even, and the reaction can make sense because obviously she's on this tight timeline, but we need a scene to show us that she's on this tight timeline, like before, and she's stressed out about it, and then she goes to Hero for comfort, and then Hero's fucking reading, and she's like, oh my god, I can't believe you're doing this, instead of blah 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 blah, and then she goes and fucks Manfred, or tries to fuck Manfred, and like something like that I think would have helped that scene out a little bit, because it felt a little disjointed from the rest of Cherry and Hero throughout the film.
Yeah, for sure.
And also Hero like rushing in to save her was so sweet, but at the same time it was like, you didn't try anything else first, and you just went straight to giving up the decade.
Yeah, I think just overall it's a script issue.
Yeah, I think the ending was a detractor for me.
I mean, I think this is kind of one of those movies where, like, in 10 or 15 years, this is going to be a cult classic.
Oh, yeah.
Guaranteed. This is going to be a hit at the queer movie nights. And I wish that I could have... This is the kind of movie where I wish I could have out loud reactions to. Whereas, like, in the theater setting where we had some other folks in the room with us, I was not able to scream about things. And I think it's kind of made for that. It's very campy. I've always believed in the mantra that, like, the campy movie with a 3.3 average on Letterboxd will save you. And I think that is true for this. Some detractors, very fun experience, good cast. I
think they could have punched up the comedy a little more.
I agree. I think it was very funny, but like there wasn't like, a lot of it.
Funny, like Eternity, which was the last thing we just watched, was like, to me, very laugh out loud funny. Like there were many moments where, like, even though I was in a theater, like I couldn't stop myself. And this one, I don't think that, like, there wasn't really anything that made me have like an audible reaction. There were just like a couple like little grins or like snorts or whatever.
No, you had an out loud laugh.
Oh, I did at one point, yeah. But like, I don't know. That's my thought.
Yeah.
What's your? I'm gonna ask a question. What's your Letterboxd rating?
Like, the gay in me wants to give it 4 stars. It's gonna probably get a 3.5. Just because the script is kind of rough. Some of the editing is rough too, like you said, with the reused footage. I'm a Maika Monroe fan, so that is also kind of forgiving for other detractors that I have. Other than The Guest, because that movie sucks, and she was the best part in that. Also Dan Stevens, but again, this is not The Guest podcast. So I think I'm going to be at a 3.5 and a like, would be my guess. What about you?
I'm going to be at a 3-star and a like.
Damn. I
think it was a very enjoyable average film. I wanted more lesbianism.
Yeah, more lesbianism.
More lesbianism. Let's see them fucking.
There was kind of a scene of that towards the end, but it was all like edited.
Yeah, like I wanted
fading in and out.
Of them like, not that I generally I'm like, okay, I don't really give a fuck. Like, I don't need to see a whole ass sex scene, but like the whole fucking movie
is about
Maika Monroe fucking.
Yeah.
And
well, no. Maika Monroe wanting to fuck.
Yeah. And we never get to see her fuck.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the things in film school that I was one of the best notes I've ever, or well, I wasn't given, but a professor gave a student in my documentary class. They had made a documentary about the street musician who traveled around for 20 years in all sorts of places. He was homeless and just like played, he's busking or whatever. And my professor goes, well, he's a musician. And he's talking about music. And the students were like, yeah. And so the professor goes, so why didn't we ever see him play any music?
Damn.
He's a musician. We should see him play music. Maika Monroe wants to fuck. Let's see her fuck. Like, and you can do it in an artsy way where we don't even have to see anything. But like,
we should have a big impactful scene of it. Yes.
We should have at least the lead up of Maika or Cherry and Hero.
Especially with the chemistry between the two of them. That's so good.
Cherry turns and looks at Hero, and they call back to whatever conversation they had before, and they go through all the things, and then then Hero's like, oh, and then I would do this, and fade to black, whatever.
I think I would have liked this more as like a limited 6-episode series.
Yeah.
Where they could establish it all out and then like world build a little bit more to kind of, rather than, and then playing more with the time, not time traveling, but fast forwarding aspect of it.
One thing that I thought was going to happen was when Cherry.
We had a long episode already, by the way.
With Manfred. Is that like he was kissing all over her neck like Hero was. I thought that she wasn't going to turn and look at him, and that was going to signify that she didn't want it, because that was the whole thing of whatever. But then that didn't happen, and I was a little disappointed. But anyways, that's 3 stars and a very heavy like. I think this will be very fun.
I would rewatch this while getting drunk.
Yes.
Shoveling popcorn into my mouth.
Yes.
That's how this is meant to be watched. Not saying you should be inebriated, but I'm saying you should have a fun time with your friends.
That's it. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye!